Tearlament versus Crystron. Begin.
There can only be one winner, and you're looking at it. Let's go.
Gonna start this off with Walls of the Imperial Tomb. You are playing the Horse engine instead of Millennium because the Horse cards have better synergy while being in Graveyard. How much are we willing to do here? It looks like Gladiator is possibly just going all the way. We have 35 cards left in the deck. We could even attempt to deck them out. We are not going all the way. We're just getting a Tearlament on the field. Maybe should have been normal summoned instead because of Max C. DD Crow is also ready to banish a Tearlament, stop on a fusion summon. Now with the meta noise, we can flip a monster face down plus trigger a fusion summon play. That'll be at least 2 disruptions, plus the Fenrir banishing a monster face down. Triple disrupt. We could just Ooh, we have no play. Oh my goodness. All non-engine imperm called by Ogre, 2 Ogre, 2 Maxi, DD Crow, and a Nibiru. This is a Crystron deck, right? I think I casually saw a Clockwork Knight. It's definitely Crystron. We have Max C in response to the activation of the King Sark from our hand. We're going to normal summon Lacrima, send from the deck our Engraver. Are we going to put up lethal damage? Can we through a Nibiru as King Sark sends to the deck a Happy, Reborn the Happy. We're at 3 summons to the battle. We go. We only have Impermanence with over 12,000 damage on the field. Ain't no way. We just lost. With literally, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hand traps, we couldn't stop him. Normal, the Smyger, turn it into a Clockwork Knight as the Smyger is now going to attempt to search our deck for an inclusion as the Ash Blossom now negates. And we got heavily punished here. How did we get punished? Well, we had the option to special summon a Sulfador with the Smyger on the field. Instead, we are trying to possibly eat up a disruption, and if they were to actually disrupt us, we now end our turn. How do we get Sulfador on the field? We outplayed ourselves. And that is something that you really want to be differentiating between when you learn 1-card combo plays. You have to understand that most 1-card combo plays, that combo line is no longer the best way to do that combo if you have other cards. You want to play your hand a bit differently, but to be fair to combo video guides and even on the website, if you were to include every single different variation of your hand of 2 or 3 more cards, the guide would be endless. You just have to learn it. We do have Ogre and Maxi. Ogre's not activatable until the card's already face up, then activates. We're going to pop it, mate. No horse ad for you from the deck. And now we don't get the I'm Seti. We have a dead horse in hand. We have our Rhino Heart on summon activating to send from the deck to trigger a fusion summon as the Ash Blossom negates the Max C. And now Gladiator is completely unhindered. Full wombo combo, full play. This is the way. Send from the deck Havnis, fuse the field. Come forth into Kikalos. Kikal on summon is going to send from the deck a tier cash, mill 2, as we then tier Kikal, reborn the cash to mill an additional 8 cards. 3, then 5, we have a Fiendsmith in the graveyard, plus a Light Fiend. We have Rainbow Bridge, plus we have Keldo returning back into our deck, the Walls of the Imperial Tomb. Are we attempting to search that card again? It only activates this effect once per turn. Why would we want to add that back to the hand? Well, it is considered a King Sark card if we want to reborn any of our horse cards in grave, which we do have I'm Seti. I'm Seti and the other horse are now rebornable despite the effect not being activatable again on the field. We have over 10,000 damage, and just like that, I think we learned 2 invaluable lessons here. What happens when you have too much non-engine? Well, we lost because of that. And what happens when we perform a 1-card combo when it would have been better to instead visualize an Ash in their hand, which Ash is the most popular disruptive hand trap in the entire game, to instead think if they were to Ash my Smyger, even though you could argue that Ashing Smyger is not an optimal play, it doesn't matter. What if they do it and you now don't have your follow-up play of the Sulfador? You want to be as much as possible hand trap resilient, playing through potential hand traps in the hand. Start this off with a Sage, search our deck for the Maiden. This is where we're going to want to use Ash on a Wishes for Eyes of Blue. as the Spirit searches for Mausoleum. Maiden's going to set up into the back with the True Light. Bingo, reveal 3 Blue Eyes cards, randomly add 1 to the hand, as we now have Roar of the Blue-Eyed Dragons, as the wishes will now be negating. We did want to activate the Roar first to potentially eat their Ash and then follow up with the wishes. Now we're going to Roar instead as the follow-up. Come forth, Blue-Eyed Dragon. Trigger the Maiden Engrave if you didn't have a Spirit with Eyes of Blue on field. You got to remember that. You cannot special summon except dragon monsters with the Spirit on field. So we're going to be turning this into a Tyrant, then reborn the Blue Eyes White Dragon, our only copy of Blue Eyes. Thus, we had to make the Tyrant Dragon. If we don't have another copy, then we just wasted it, unfortunately. And only now can we now reborn the Maiden. And what's very important here is targeting Maiden with a card effect to ensure that she could reborn a monster from the grave, being a Blue Eyes White Dragon or a Sage. Spirit Dragon and another Spirit Dragon. Double up on the Spirit Dragon way. Now, a very popular card in Gladiator is called Rescue Cat, which summons 2 monsters onto the field from the deck at the same time. A lot of you don't know that this has a floodgate-like effect of neither player could summon 2 or more monsters at the same time. We have, whoa, I guess we're gonna give that up. We don't know that we're playing against a Rescue Cat deck, and they don't have it in their original hand. So that floodgate-like effect is now gone. And what's quite interesting about this play is that on the top cards page, according to win rate when summoned, Blue Eyes now wins. It says if they summon a Sif or Divine Dragon, their win rate is 84.5 freaking %. That is crazy. Is the Ultimate Spirit Dragon also on here? I would say probably not, because it's summoned more often in other plays, but this is likely going towards the turn 1 play. Also the Crimson, 81.7, which then leads into the Cipher. So Blue Eyes should just straight up win this, as we now have a monster negate anything, pop 1 to 2 cards on the field, plus a Maxi triple disruption. Let's go. Imperm. Now we can't imperm the Ultimate Spirit if there's a Neo Ultimate in graveyard, but we could still imperm the Cipher. Ash, negate the Maxi, and if the Cipher were to try to negate the Ash, we could then imperm it. What are our plays? What are the ways? Imperm negate the correct card here, as we successfully did. Lordy load, attempting to search our deck for nothing as the Majesty wipes it away. Now we're left with just the Ultimate Spirit Dragon, negating the activation of anything on the field. Proving grounds into a negate. Now, what are Gladiators known for? At least back in my day, they were known for battling, and after successfully battling, you tag them out into a Gladiator to gain a great effect, right? Let's return back and summon the immense effect of Pop the True Light. Now, the Cipher would be protecting the True Light from being destroyed, and now the True Light is going to wipe away the entire field. Bestiari is here, ain't no way. Wipe the field. Maiden, what are you doing? You're going to get wiped. And you would think that, oh, you could chain link this separately. You can't, because the True Light is a mandatory effect. It has to be the lower chain link. Wiping the field as the Ultimate Spirit triggers to reborn the Tyrant Dragon, which will successfully return the True Light or Majesty back on the field. Boy, Gladiators, that wasn't the best, really. Let's set up the Majesty to have directly, right away, a form of disruption, plus our Ash Blossom. We have a Gestel. Now, Gestel is a brand new Gladiator, a great card, but only great if you have another Gladiator in your hand. You get to summon itself plus another Gladiator, then it triggers the Gladiator special summon effect. Let's just hop into the next duel. Yes, let's clean this up. 4,800 barrel, making this 5,000 damage. Let's grab a Drill Beam, and game 2. Begin. Set, Roar, pass. Now, Roar could summon the Gladiator normal monster from the deck, which apparently, obviously, is not a 1-card combo play. We're going to Ash negate the Lordy Load. This is the way. Off of that, we have the Neo Kaiser Seahorse, a good way to cope with the fact that you have 1 less Maiden in Sage. The Neo Kaiser Seahorse gets a Maiden from the deck into the graveyard, and you then get to reborn it by summoning a Blue Eyes and then set up your True Light. Now, we do have a Bestial, but against Gladiators, this probably is not a form of disruption. I would say that Blue Eyes has nothing. Now, with the Field Spell, this card is great. It's going to search for any Gladiator we want. And then we should fully pop off from here, yes? Discard the Roar, searching for the Bestiari. With Bestiari and another monster, we're going to contact fuse into Gazaris. Gazaris on summon, pop 2 cards on the field. As the Seahorse sends from the deck to the grave the Maiden. We have Bestial Magnum Hut, which is going to be blocking the direct attack. Oh my Jesus, we didn't play around the Ogre. The Gazaris needs to successfully battle in order to tag out for 2 monsters from the deck, which the Magnum Hut was going to completely stop that attack and the tag out. But because you activate it, of course you're going to activate. The Ogre is going to wipe it off the field. Thus, we get to meet the requirement of the huge tag out play. 2,400 to the face. Let's tag out into the Giselle on summon is going to activate. This will also send from the deck to change its level. We have Vespius in the graveyard now. Now, the core combo of Gladiators is what? It's to get 2 level 5 monsters on the field. And once that happens, they win. We have a level 7 so far. We just need 1 more, level 5 or higher, and you'll see why we win. Let's Reborn, a 7 and a 7 sent to the grave. That's because of the Tamer Editor. 2 level 5 or higher Gladiator beasts, you contact fuse them away, and then this gets to summon whatever you want from the extra deck. Tamer Editor into a Domity Anus. This card is a monster negate, mate. We have Test Panther on summon, similar to the Giselle. We'll search our deck for a Gladiator card. We have the Noxus. What? Return the Domity back in the extra deck. We now summon from the deck an Quest. A Quest is going to grab back the Comeback. Comeback will reborn the Tamer Editor, which will possibly just resummon the Domity Anus back on the field again. In the extra deck, back on the field, as we now make a Darius. Darius will, on summon, reborn a monster from engrave or from our hand. We're going to add back the Comeback. Now, what's important about the Comeback is you have to look at your field of monster types because you can only summon a Gladiator with a different type than what you control. The main monster you want to summon is going to be the Tamer Editor, but it's a Beast Warrior, and the Darius is a Beast Warrior. We have to get this off the field to even be able to use the Comeback. Thus, we're doing it. Into an Apollo USA. Don't mind if I do. Triple monster negate on the field. Let's reborn the Tamer Editor for what, a 3rd time now? As we now summon a Heraklinos. Heraklinos and the Editor are just going to turn themselves into a Harbinger for a spell negate. We're not done. We've only just begun. We have also a Gladiator Beast Charge in the back row. Let's talk about our forms of disruption. This will be able to, per Gladiator we control, which is 1 right now, destroy that many face-up cards in the field, 1 disruption. Domity Anus not only can negate any monster effect, but also it is battle protection for the Apollo. When your opponent declares an attack, you choose who gets to attack and what they attack into. But they do have to declare an attack. We have double monster negate with the Apollo, and then we have a spell card negate with the Harbinger, which also has a secret battle protection effect for the Apollo. 5. Already loaded. We're going to pop this on activation. Yes, we are. Beast, charge it up. Now, back in my day, the Heraklinos used to be absolutely nuts because it's not a hard once per turn spell and trap card negate, but it's per card you have in your hand, a very important resource you don't want to just be endlessly depleting to get negating. Negate the barrel. We have 3 more disruption left. We're going to negate that spell just like that. We still have a monster negate and a monster negate. The barrel cannot swing into the Apollo. Did we know that? Now, the Typhon will turn off Domity Anus from being able to negate, but Domity Anus's continuous effect of you choose the attack targets is still valid. If we swing in, we're gonna be dying to the Domity Anus. Bruh, no way. We didn't activate. We didn't know. We thought we turned your, what, the Domity Anus? Wow, well done. Crazy. Good job, Gladiators. And I talked about with Apollo being banned in OCG, one of the reasons of her being broken is whenever you have battle protection, Link Karibo, or as you can see with Gladiators, they have multiple different battle protections here. Blue Eyes is going first, wishes into an immediate Ash Blossom negate, an obvious negate, and Rentos is now left with a Drill Beam plus Ash. Double disruption, is that going to be good enough? We also don't have follow-up. We have a Drill Beam of our own. We need a Primite card in our hand to even be activatable, or a normal monster in the field or in our hand. Thus, we can't Drill Beam the Drill Beam, unfortunately. And now we're left with just Ash. Now, the Giselle requires us to have a Gladiator in our hand to even activate. We're going to use the oh my, geez, this is nasty. We lost 2 cards. They're gone, and we just got ashed. Oh my. That is a huge ash. Holy minus. We set a dead drill beam. We have 0 disruption. But Blue Eyes has nothing. Blue Eyes into a max C. That ain't a play. Off the top of our deck, come to me. Gladiator, Ogre. All right, back to Blue Eyes. Blue Eyes off the top of the deck. Majesty, that's not dead. That will be able to pop a card on the field, non-target. Gladiator, you dead. That's dead. Drill Beam's dead. Charge is dead. We're not gonna even set it. It's that dead. True Light will take a turn to not be dead. Now, True Light cannot set a Wishes while Wishes is in the graveyard. It's gonna have to set a Roar. We have the field spell. We can actually do something now as we can search our deck for any Gladiator, discarding our charge to get wiped away. We can't. Drill Beam still. Drill Beam completely dead, not able to negate and banish. What else do we have? End our turn. True Light is going. You maybe think, why didn't Ogre pop it? Well, if you activate it on its flip, Ogre cannot pop it. Nicely done, but on its next time it is activated, we also just hard drew into Wishes. That was broken. Bingo. Reveal 3 Blue Eyes cards. Randomly add 1 to our hand. As we're going to roar onto the field from the deck as the Maxi is chained to it. Thus, we're going to chain our True Light to the Maxi as we now Ogre, pop, and negate MST, negate that True Light, not today. Which will also destroy whatever is summoned off of the roar. We do not have a Maiden in the grave, unfortunately. Summon from the deck. We draw into our Roar. Roar can at least turn on our own Drill Beam. Yes. Set the Wishes and pass. Now, Wishes could be dead. How could it be dead? Well, it's required to add a spell and trap card that mentions Blue Eyes White Dragon. What do we have in the deck that's Blue Eyes White Dragon? Majesty, Bingo, and Roar, also True Light, are pulled out of the deck. We likely have a completely dead Wishes. Of course we do, right? We would have activated it. Primite, Roar, attempt to summon for the deck. Now, this is optional on resolution. We could just say, all right, I don't want to summon, but maybe we still do under Maxi because of Drill Beam. Let's see what we end up doing. Roar, we do in fact still summon the Andal, and we further commit under the Maxi. Are you out of your mind? We have Gistel and Aatrox sent for the deck, the Vespius. Well, remember what I said earlier? We win if we get 2 level 5s on the field at the same time. This turns to a level 7. This grabs the Reborn. Reborn the other level 7. The Imperm in our hand is dead because we bluffed. Bluff is a strategy we used 20 years ago, bluffing in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! With the dead Wishes now blocking our impermanence. Come forth, Tamer Editor. Let's edit the field. Domitianus is here, ready to dominate as we come forth and go into a Test Panther. Bro does not care under the Max C. Ain't no way. We do have Drill Beams. We're still summoning under Max C endlessly. The Ash Blossom has not been used yet. This is a deck that plays a ton of effect Veilers. Where are the Veilers? We have 2 impermanences and no Veilers as Domitianus is back on the field. Further going into Adarios. Alex Lums has absolutely lost his mind. We finally have Ash Blossom activatable, but the Domitianus will negate. Not today. We also drew into a Veiler. When did we just draw? We just drew into it. On the Darius summon, that Veiler was added to our hand here. Negate the Domitianus and negate the Darius. We're going to further turn our field into the Gladiator Link 2 as we now turn it into an Apollo USA 1600 damage. Can we turn this into lethal damage? No way. If summoned this way, you can conduct your next battle phase twice. Double the battle phase, 5,300 times 2, over 10,000 damage. This is it. Activate. Once it resolves, we're baiting. If you negate the Magnum Hut, guess what? I'm going to chain Nibiru to your Apollo, which you then cannot negate the Nibiru. Do we take the bait? Now, the Drill Beam is activatable to banish the Magnum Hut, so we should not even attempt to negate this. We still have lethal. Did not take the bait, unfortunately for Rentos. The Magnum Hut's going to go through. Now, the Claudius has an additional effect here. When your opponent summons or activates a monster effect and it's your turn, you get to summon a Gladiator from your deck. further giving them a chance to draw into a Veiler, which can negate the Apollo and then Nibiru the entire field. We're going to attempt to Nibiru. Apollo USA, no Veiler in sight, despite us definitely playing 3 copies of that card. In the battle phase, we have the Vespius, which we now don't have to use our Drill Beam. Battle phase number 1, battle phase number 2, lethal damage. Damn. Wow. Max C challenge accepted. Very well done for Gladiators. Ooh, this is Gladiator. Let's Gladiator it up. Begin. When is Baby Decade coming? We're actually getting a new kitten soon. That's gonna be something, yes. If you have any tips on how to properly integrate a kitten with 2 crazy German Shepherds and a single crazy cat, I'm all ears. Maybe Gian will be listening in chat, yes? Crimson Tier, send for the deck engraver here. What are our forms of disrupt? In addition to our triple monster negate, we have a drone lockbird, disallowing further adding from the deck. Ash negate and interaction with the deck. Call with the Grave Finger, a card engraved. That's 6 disruption. Now, do we have more than that? If we look engrave, there's no Crimson Tier. All right. 6. Summon Gestal. Oh my gosh, what the heck? Test Bear with the Gestal was supposed to be a big play, but the Apollo USA completely negates that. We have the Charge, though, which could pop the Apollo. Now, if the Apollo was made with a Masquerena, it would have been protected from the Charge. Golem into the back row, summon itself onto the field, searching for the Wedju Temple. We're going to draw on Lockbird. We're going to use Apollo to attempt to negate. Charge is going to pop, thus you don't get to negate unless on resolution you actually change your attack. And we're going to add a call with the Grave Finger. Finger the Droll. Now, fingering a Droll can be risky because if they have a second copy of Droll, they could chain it to the finger. Wedju Temple, putting our Droll into the back row. Senjin summon, searching for a Senjin. Senjin plus a Droll, summon a Doom Dragon, push the Gestal into the back row. Now, I've been hearing a lot of people go, I don't like Droll. Droll is not effectively shutting down my opponent's turn. Why are people playing this card? You play Droll when you can Droll yourself. It's not about trying to shut off the opponent's turn. That's a secondary benefit of why you'd want to use Droll. So really think about, under the effect of Droll, how many effective plays can you make where you potentially just give them the ability to draw just a single card. And if you think about Fiendsmith, any deck playing Fiendsmith can play Droll by default because Requiem into all those plays are unaffected by Droll completely. The only way Fiendsmith is affected by Droll is if the engraver adds a track, they get hit by Droll, and then they end from there. Now, if they don't have another way to go into Moon, the Closed Heaven, or a Requiem, only then would they be stopped by the Droll. 1-0, let's go. What is good is we already search our deck for a Drill Beam, which can negate the impermanence. We do get Drilled here, as the load now special summons the deck and Andal, set Drill Beam, and pass. We could negate anything, we could Ash anything, we could Droll them, triple form of disruption. We have Senjin in the back row, Drill Beam, negate, and banish. Now, with Droll and Ash, will this be enough against a Snake Eye Ash and a Bonfire? We're going to Ash negate the Ash. Will we even bother using Crossout Designate? We will not. Now, Bonfire is going to accomplish what the Ash was wanting to do anyway, adding the Poplar to our hand. And Ash is not further negated through a card like Imperm or Veiler. We're going to use Droll. And Snake Eye's a deck that could play through Droll, but we would still want to Crossout Designate, negate the Droll so we could have an even better play. And to play through Droll, you would Poplar, Link Rebo, equip into the back row, send the back row with the Ash, summon a Flameburge, or an Oak back in the day, 1 week ago. Divine Temple into the back row, Snake Eye Diabstar, send the Snake Eye Diabstar, come forth and summon Flameburge. Flameburge can push the Andal into the back row as we Moon of the Closed Heaven, trigger the Flameburge, Reborn 2 bodies. Further equipping the Snake Eye Diabstar into the back row. A Doom Dragon will likely be coming out soon as we make a Requiem summon for the deck into the Crimson Tier, sending Graver here. Equip into the back row as we Snake Eye Diabstar, Reborn itself, send 2 back row for the Doom Dragon. As we further go into a Photon Lord. Not enough for lethal damage yet, 7,400 damage. But now with the Engraver on field, plus a monster negate, we could safely go for game. Lethal through a single Bestial as we'll just negate it. Lethal damage. 2-0, unfortunately. Regain plus follow-up tracked. We have no disruption in sight. We are a 60-card deck, so it is completely understandable to be filled to the brim with gas instead of hand traps. Reddit really dislikes 60-card decks. I see a hate thread about it almost every single week, and it's highly upvoted. What's going on? Let's talk about our disruption here. We have the Wave King Caesar, double special summon negate, Imperm negate a monster, Veiler negate a monster, Baldrake banish a monster, Engrave, and then banish a monster from the extra deck. We have about 6 forms of disruption, with the regained maybe drawing into another hand trap. I'm sad we really want to Ash that, but there's no Ash. We also have the Lacrima and Requiem plus the Fiendsmith in Paradise, so it's 7 forms of disruption. Gotta check the grave. I'm Seti successfully adding the King Sark and our Lurie. We're going to use the Requiem to jump into the Crimson Tier, trigger the effect here to now on special summon send a card to the grave. Do we trigger the effect of Fiendsmith in Paradise? We do not. We're passing. Now, the big reason why to pass is because the horse cards have this crazy secondary effect. If another card you control leaves the field, you could send a card from the field to the grave. We don't want to be triggering that unless we're specifically sending the I'm Seti. But now it's too late to send the I'm Seti because now there's a Happy. Happy states if another card leaves the field, we now can target 2 cards that are banished or in the graveyard and add them back to the hand. What do? Even more, we have protection. If another card leaves the field, we now can have it so your cards cannot be targeted, the horse cards that is. Send the Triva Karma. We have the 4th Horus now here, which will draw a card per different monster control if a card leaves the field. Holy moly, 4,800 damage. We have not even committed to our normal summon yet. We have Heartbeat. Target a spell and trap card in the field, which we're going for the back row. Imperm is going to negate the Dumatef. No attack boost, and you will not be drawing if a card leaves the field. To battle we go. We're going to start the damage step. Send the Wave King Caesar to the graveyard as we directly attack 2 of our horse cards to the face. Main phase 2, get ready to Xyz it up into a zombie vampire. This will trigger the Fiendsmith in Paradise, but oh my, are you really going to trigger Happy and I'm Seti? What other options do we have, right? Sending the King Sark, we're still triggering them. We're just going to add the King Sark back, plus another card, and we're going to be sending a card in the field to the grave. You what, mate? Okay. I'm reading like the Zombie Vampire was targetable, right? Neither player could target this card with effects of special summon monsters except summon from the graveyard, so it was targetable. But it still would have triggered the Horus and the I'm Seti. Veiler. Negate the Zombie Vampire. Bro went +4. That's what the horse cards be doing. As we're going to follow up Lurie into Requiem. I guess this is a big reason why people hate 60-card decks. It's unlimited engines and gas and power. Bestial, Lubellion, searching for nothing. And Bestials are incredible against tier limit, completely stopping their fusion summon. Now to make up for that, we do have 2 fingers ready to finger the Sharon, or Havnis. Don't mind if I do. Havnis went sent to the grave, triggered a fusion summon, finger the Fool. Now Havnis is limited to 1, Begone. Sharon, I believe, is also, oh no, it's semi-limited on the Sharon, just limited to 1 Havnis. Sharon is going to be discarding the Keldo, mill 3 cards, did not trigger a fusion summon. We're going to Ash Blossom, negate the Grief, which would have been a way to get the Sharon engraved to trigger a fusion summon. Negate. Are we going to a Time Thief Redoer? We're going to the Moon of the Closed Heaven, which Time Thief could have triggered the Sharon, but then we're not going into the Fiendsmith plays. Requiem into a finger. This is the way. Well, we could completely dodge that finger. If we were to attempt to finger a Sharon, trigger and a fusion summon, we chain Keldo to return it back in the deck, you lose your fusion summon. But with the Requiem, Requiem does not care being returned back in the deck. It's going to still fulfill its effect, summoning from the deck our Lacrima Crimson Tier. This was the best play here. Let's go. And this was public knowledge. This was a bad finger, I think so. We should have instead fingered Engraver trying to reborn, where the Keldo returns the Engraver back if they even wanted to, but then Engraver's not in the field. So straight up public knowledge, knowing that the finger would have not gone through. But it's surprise factor. People are not familiar with Keldo and the other Shuffler being a part of the meta. Reborn onto the field, 5,400 damage, an additional 1,200 with Lacrima being sent to the graveyard. Let's main phase 2, Pilgrim Reaper. We could randomly mill a Sharon. 5 cards from both players' decks. I don't think so. Imperm, negate, no random mill for you, mate. It's essentially Beatrice at home. We're gonna turn both bodies into a Little Knight. Is there anything worthy of banishing? Banishing the Libellion is pretty good here. Trigger the Lacrima, burn for the 12. Returning back Lacrima, Crimson, as we don't have Requiem and Engrave anyway, sure. Off the top of the deck, that is a wonderful top deck. Costanza, what the hell was that? We're going to add Lurie, Reborn Lurie. This is where we could have used the Keldo Shuffler to return the Lurie back in the deck on it activating Engrave. Requiem jumping off the field into the Engraver. You could just battle. You don't have to do this to activate, and then Little Knight would be dead. You'd have the Engraver engraved to also reborn and make plays with. That messed us up big time. Activating with the Little Knight on field while we already had a bigger monster. No bueno. Now we don't have a play. We're gonna end on 0 disruption because of that Little Knight. Or do you count Typhon as disrupt? No one counts Typhon as disruption. 2,900 to the face. Return back the Little Knight in the end phase. We have Black Oat Lass. You what, mate? We do have our own Engraver ready to reborn. We do not have enough damage on them yet to simply go into Lacrima burn for game. Requiem, jump off the field, come forth into an Engraver, equip onto the Engraver, send a monster on the field to the grave, say goodbye to the Typhon. As we simply go to battle. Suicided up, 1,600 for game. Nicely done. Thank you to both of you.